Hello, this is Haku the Bean, and today I think I'm just gonna tell about something that I just remembered from when I was younger. This is about school. You know, that place where you go to do meaningless tasks for a job that you'll never have for some reason. I don't know. It was kind of awful. Nobody really liked it, and 90% of the stuff you learned after like middle school was pretty useless. I mean, I do remember or that I graduated from high school, so it's not like I dropped out for this. I'm already 23. Anyway, what I'm talking about specifically today is actually about the time when a teacher would keep on calling me the wrong name. I didn't really like this teacher. I think you can guess why. Back then I went by a different name than I do now, but even then I still had a name that was part of my legal name that I never ever used in my life. Nobody ever called me this name. This teacher, I'm gonna call him Kyle. I don't know why. I can't remember his name exactly, but I think it started with a K. I think it was like Kyle or something. Or was it Keith? It's not important. This teacher did like a weird graphics design class, and I tried to get into it, but I just couldn't get myself to be interested whatsoever. So instead of actually paying attention after a while, because I just pretty much gave up on the class, I did the same thing with a game design class later in high school. This was in middle school, by the way. I was like in sixth grade. I think I was like 12, and they were trying to teach me how to do graphic design. Really weird, honestly. But my first year of middle school was pretty weird in general, and the people who were in charge of it were pretty bad for the most part. Particularly the English teacher I had at the time, but that English teacher had out for my entire family because my mom would dare to get any tattoos. And that English teacher was one of those kind of judgy people who doesn't like stuff like that. You know the sort, the classic Karen. She was like in her 80s. Her husband, the principal of the middle school that I went to, was pretty cool though. Me and him were very close friends at the time. Anyway, the guy I'm talking about, his name was like Kyle. I'm just gonna call him Kyle because why not? He kept on calling me by the wrong name, and I would read my Kindle or play games on that same device in the middle of class without really caring. Because I just pretty much gave up on that class entirely, and honestly, as I now know, it really doesn't matter what grades you get in middle school. You'll definitely be going to high school anyway because of weird things that are going on. And if I was in sixth grade and I was like 12, this was back in 2012, so just so you know what sort of time period this was at. So I remember this teacher like stole my Kindle. I liked that Kindle. I had books I was reading on it. I was like, dude, give it back. And he kept calling me by the wrong name. And I think he like tried to warn me, but he kept on calling me by the wrong name, so I didn't know he was talking to me because nobody calls me that name. and I actively ignore anyone who tries to because it actually bugs me when people try to call me a name I don't go by. Kind of like now with my dead name. Guess it was kind of a dead name back then too. Anyway. So this guy just took my Kindle and I was really mad. These days I'm quite sure teachers don't really take your stuff anymore because like what gives you any right to take something that somebody else paid for? You didn't pay for that. You have no authority over the object. Like if a kid is not paying attention in your class, well then that's their problem. It's gonna reflect in their grade anyway. That's the way that a lot of teachers handled it in like high school and stuff, which really it made it suck for them when and I would I'd pretty much ace all their tests as and do assignments very well anyway. Because I'm definitely reading while I'm doing other stuff because that's just how I roll. Anyway, this teacher was pretty disrespectful and he kept taking my stuff and I was a very emotional and anger prone child at the time, so I was really mad. I was trying to grab it back and stuff. I think that was like my first school tantrum since like the second grade. That was funny. I know there are some other teachers that I had that I didn't really like. This is just one example. I know that I always corrected teachers immediately. It was saying that, no, my name's not that, it's this. And back then it still wasn't Haku, so it was still wrong. Most teachers in high school who were pretty respectful about my name at the very least, but they were disrespectful about other things or doing things that I really didn't like. I don't quite remember a specific time when I've had a teacher say that the bell doesn't dismiss you, I do, but I've always kind of thought that was pretty stupid because what's the point of the bell if not to dismiss me? And also, I'm not going to value one teacher over the others when I have like six teachers during a school day after elementary anyway. So yeah, 5 minutes for the bell, I'm getting ready to go. Once the bell rings, I'm gone. I think I have had teachers try and say that sort of stuff, but I just never listened. There's a lot of stuff like that I really didn't like as a kid, and even now I still think is a little bit silly or just a power trip from the teacher to try and control kids. I even remember once I tried to like accusing a teacher of war crimes because like one kid in the back was like super annoying and loud and making the teacher angry. And then the teacher was like, "Okay, the entire class has to stay 5 minutes after the bell." And I was like, "Why should we all get punished for the actions of one disrespectful old kid?" And I was like, "Isn't this like against the Geneva Conventions or something?" I don't remember exactly the situation. It was a little bit silly, and I think it was in like high school when I actually learned about that sort of of crime being a thing. Now, as an adult, I actually know that war crimes don't really apply to the US in any way, shape, or form, and also that they don't apply to how we treat our own citizens, or how the military treats each other, or how teachers treat students. They only apply when it's a prisoner of war, or something like a protest, and they do in that sort of thing. I think I should probably talk about the English teacher I had in the sixth grade middle school that I really, really didn't like. She didn't like me. She didn't like my older sisters. My younger brother got to not have to deal with her. Um, Basically, what my experience with her was, I was 12 and I was just doing my thing, and one of the things was that I had like a form of arthritis at the time, which made me have a hard time with stuff. It originated from the spine. It's ankylosing spondylitis, if you've ever heard of it. So they gave me a cart instead of a backpack to carry to my classes, which after this year and after an accident I had, I just went to a backpack instead and just said screw it. But I still didn't go to lockers. I just brought the backpack with me to all my classes because I didn't freaking trust lockers, and also it was way easier that way. It made me less likely to be late to a class because I would have to go to one specific place when my classes are all over the school, which I did not like to have to do anyway. Anyway, so this year I was wheeling this cart into class one day. It's a pretty large cart and I didn't like it. It seemed like more of a pain than actually getting a backpack. But the school and like some doctors said, "Oh, I need to use this cart for whatever reason because apparently it was too much of a strain on my back," and I didn't really see it that way. But then the teacher decides to be like, but then I accidentally like ran over someone's foot, or someone bumped into the cart that was next to me, or something like that. It really doesn't matter, as this cart was pretty large and you could have seen it a mile away. And honestly, you see a giant box in your way and you don't think to go around or go all different routes to where you need to go. That's kind of on you at that point. So I have this card right next to me so I can grab my stuff out of it. This person like runs into it or I accidentally run over someone's foot while going past them. I do not remember and I was not very self-aware at the time. And then the like English teacher gets all mad at me for daring to bring the card into the classroom. And then she's like, now you have to leave that cart outside. I don't want it in my damn classroom. It's like, okay, lady. And it was a little bit ridiculous because it's like, I can't just leave all my school stuff outside in the hallway for like somebody to just walk up and grab. I even had like this thingy. It was like a keyboard thingy because they didn't want to give me a full on laptop, but they wanted me to have something to write notes in without using a pencil because pencils hurt my hand and made my wrist really hurt from the arthritis and how hard writing already was for me anyway. So I started using a keyboard thingy to write my notes in, and I didn't want to like leave that outside or have to carry stuff on its own into the classroom. I really didn't like that, but that teacher was really mean in any way, so I kind of like don't remember what I did actually. I remember I forget a lot of stuff that happened during my middle school days. I mean, that was my junior year phase as well, so obviously I'd forget a lot of things from that time. That's what I'm calling it. I think I remember some weird lessons, but that's about it. I think that's it for me talking about bad teachers I've had. I mean, there are some good ones that I've had as well. I just can't quite remember them because they didn't traumatize me. Isn't that fun? The memory of Kyle will always be strong, but the memory of, I don't know, any decent teacher I had will always be weak. Because your brain likes to hold on to trauma and hates to hold on to good things. Anyway, if you like this video, please leave a like on the video, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. I have no clue what I'm going to do or talk about tomorrow, so until then, goodbye!